Hello everyone, welcome to our online class, Standard 6, Subject Science. Lesson number 10, Force and Types of Force, Part 2. Let's try this. Take a small stone and a bucket full of water. Drop the stone into the water from a height of about 20 centimeter. You will hear the sound of a stone dropping in the water. Now, drop the same stone into the water from the height of about 100 centimeter. You will hear its sound again. What is the difference in the sound in the action above? What we conclude from this? We conclude from this, the sound of the stone dropped from the height of about 100 centimeter will be more than to the stone dropped from the height of about 20 centimeter. The action of lifting a sack are shown in the picture. One sack looks empty, the other one is full. What difference do you notice in the way the two sacks are lifted? From this activity, we conclude that less force has to be applied to lift lighter sack than lifting up the heavier sack, as more gravitational force work on it. The gravitational force on the empty sack is less, that is why it weighs less. The gravitational force on the bigger sack is greater. In the other word, the bag weight moves. Greater force must be applied to lift a greater weight. Let's recall what we had studied in our previous video. We had studied about force, types of force, muscular force, mechanical force and gravitational force. So, we are going to study topic magnetic force, frictional force and electrostatic force. So, we will start with our first topic, that is magnetic force. What do you mean by magnetic force? The force exerted by a magnet is called as a magnetic force. Place a magnet on a table. Take a big iron nails toward the magnet. It stick to the magnet. Now hold the magnet upright in the air, away from the nail. What happens? Force is exerted by a magnet. Magnetic force, attraction or repulsion that arise between electrically charged particles because of their motion. It is a basic force responsible for such effects as the action of electric motors and attraction of the magnet for iron. Frictional force. When two surfaces are rubbed against each other, the force of friction is created. This force always acts against the direction of motion. We use force of friction in our daily life. The brakes applied for stopping the vehicles helps to create frictional force. Due to the force of friction, we are able to walk on the ground without slipping. On the other hand, oily or wet floors offers less friction and hence one can easily slip on such floors. The force of friction can be increased or decreased as per our requirement. Two pieces of smooth papers and two sandpapers. Rub them against each other. What do you notice? Smooth surfaces have less friction among them and so they can easily rub. The sandpaper being rough offer more friction and are thus difficult to rub against each other. When a carom piece is flicked lightly, it slides over the carom board but stop at a certain distance. Why does this happen? This happens because of force of friction. A ball rolling over a flat ground stop at a certain distance. Why does this happen? A rolling ball stops because the surface on which it's rolled resists its motion. A rolling ball stops because of friction. When the two surfaces rub against each other, the force of friction comes into play. It always acts against the direction of a motion. When a brake is applied while riding a bicycle, it stopped after running a short distance. How does the brake work? Between which parts is friction produced? Because it turns into heat. The brake blocks can get incredibly hot. No matter how fast you go, there comes a time when you need to stop. Brakes on a bicycle work using friction. The rubbing force between two things that slide past one another while they are touching. Why is a wooden plank laid down for pulling out a car which is stuck in the mud? The force of friction is generated between the wheel and the wooden plank laid down under the car. Hence, it can be pulled out from the mud. In short, force of friction can either be decreased or increased as desired. Can you tell why powder is sprinkled on a carom board? The coins on the carom board should move swiftly during play. If powder is not sprinkled on the surface of the carom board, there will be more frictional force. This will hinder the play. Therefore, to have a smooth carom board surface, powder is sprinkled on a carom board. The car went much further on a smoother surface. Rough surface possesses greater friction or opposing force for any movement. Smooth surface possesses less friction or lesser opposing force for any movement. Electrostatic force. Static electricity is produced on a material like rubber, plastic, ebonite due to friction. The force exerted by such electrical charged material is called electrostatic force. When an inflated balloon is rubbed with the pieces of silk cloth, it becomes electrically charged. This attraction of charged balloon towards uncharged is known as electrostatic force. Rub a plastic comb against a dry hair and repeat the activity. What happened? Plastic comb get electrically charged due to rubbing and therefore it attracts tiny pieces of paper. Rub a peacock feather between two pages of a notebook and bring it near your finger. What do you see? In all the above activity, the pieces of paper, hair and the peacock feather are seen to be moved. Why does this happen? It happens due to static electricity. Static electricity is produced on a material like rubber, plastic and ebonite due to the friction. Combined forces. While an action is taking place, various types of forces act on the object in question. You might have seen a roller coaster or the juggling of a sailboat on the sea. A variety of forces act together in these cases. At times, a variety of forces act together on a single object. Such action is due to a combined forces. Let's recall what we had studied in this lesson. We had studied about muscular force, mechanical force, gravitational force, magnetic force, frictional force and electrostatic force. So in this way we had completed our lesson number 10, force and types of force. Hope you all have understood it very well. Thank you.